Imagine the air thick with the scent of expensive perfume and aged wine. The kind that screams old money in a Montecito estate where the ocean whispers secrets to the cliffs below. There, in the midst of crystal clinking and forced laughter, my sister Olivia raised her glass, her diamond bracelet catching the chandelier light like a predator's gleam. "To my little sister Emily," she announced, her voice dripping with that polished venom she'd perfected over years of boardroom battles and society galas. Still scraping by. Can't even swing a beat-up Honda. But hey, family first. Right? The room erupted in chuckles, the kind that masked cruelty as camaraderie. I stood there, silent as a shadow, my heart pounding not with rage but with the cold precision of a plan a decade in the making. Then, I reached into my clutch, pulled out a single embossed card, and set it down beside her plate. The laughter choked off like a strangled gasp. Olivia's perfectly Botoxed face went ashen. The guests froze, their whispers turning to stunned silence. But to understand why that tiny piece of cardstock shattered her world, you have to go back to where the fractures began, back to the polished hell of our family home in the Seattle suburbs, where love was a currency I could never earn. My name is Emily Carter. And from the moment I could hold a pencil, I saw the world through lines and curves, not just on paper, but in the structures that held everything together. While other kids chased soccer balls or scrolled through apps, I huddled in the basement, drafting blueprints on scraps of graph paper, dreaming of bridges that defied gravity and buildings that touched the clouds. Engineering wasn't a phase, it was my escape, my way of imposing order on a chaotic life. But in the Carter household, ambition had a hierarchy, and it peaked at my older sister, Olivia. She was the golden child, tall, sharp-featured, with a charisma that could close deals before the ink dried. Emily's tinkering with her little drawings again, Olivia would sneer at family dinners, her manicured nails tapping the mahogany table. Mom would chuckle indulgently. Dad would nod without lifting his eyes from his stock reports, and I'd push my food around my plate, swallowing the lump in my throat to keep from screaming. Olivia's path was paved with privilege at 16. When she declared her interest in real estate development, our parents sprang into action, funding mentors, internships at top firms, and even a summer program at Harvard's business school that cost more than a small house. The house itself was a monument to their priorities, a sprawling colonial in Bellevue, with a dining room that doubled as Olivia's war room, walls plastered with her project mock-ups and market analyses. Conversations orbited her potential deals, her networking events, her endless opportunities. Me? I was the afterthought, the quiet one whose sketches of sustainable structures gathered dust under my bed. The day I mustered the nerve to ask for support was a month shy of my 18th birthday. I'd prepared meticulously researched MIT's civil engineering program, compiled scholarship options, even mocked up a budget showing how I'd work part-time to cover extras. My voice trembled as I laid out my portfolio on the granite kitchen island, designs for eco-friendly bridges, calculations for load-bearing innovations, visions of cities rebuilt smarter after disasters. Mom, Dad, I need your help with this application, maybe a small loan for the fees. I'll pay it back with interest. They barely glanced up. Emily, we're swamped, Mom said, sorting through Olivia's latest internship contracts. Your sister's just landed a spot with that elite developer in New York. The relocation costs alone. Dad cut in, his tone final as a gavel. Real success demands real backing. This hobby of yours, maybe a state school has something basic. Hobby. The word landed like a demolition charge, blasting away the last shreds of my illusion that they saw me. That night, Olivia found me curled on my bed, tears soaking my pillow. She didn't offer a hug or words of solace. Instead, she leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Face it, Em. Not everyone's cut out for the big leagues. Some people have to be the background so the stars can shine. Her words echoed in my skull like a faulty foundation cracking under pressure. Right then, surrounded by rejected sketches and the faint hum of the city outside, I decided I wouldn't explode in anger or beg for scraps. That would feed their narrative of me as the dramatic failure. I'd vanish, rebuild from the ground up, and one day, return not to beg forgiveness, but to expose the rot they'd ignored. Over the next weeks, I juggled shifts at a local hardware store, stashing every dollar in a hidden envelope. I pawned my laptop, the drafting tools I'd saved for, even the heirloom watch from Grandpa. It netted $500, barely a blueprint. But it was mine, untainted by their conditions. The eve of Olivia's lavish 18th birthday bash, which our parents had turned into a networking extravaganza for her budding career, I packed my old drafting set and a duffel bag. I left a note on the kitchen counter, building my own foundation. Don't search. At the bus depot at dawn, the Seattle mist clinging to my coat like regret, I boarded a Greyhound bound for Spokane, to a dingy shared apartment I'd scrounged on Craigslist. As the bus rumbled east, I murmured my vow. I am Emily Carter, and I will etch my name into the skyline they never let me reach. The Spokane rental was a nightmare, peeling wallpaper that reeked of stale smoke, a heater that groaned like it was dying. But it was my fortress, free from judgment. My first gig was at a small surveying firm, Thompson & Sons, where I crunched numbers for land plots and assisted on basic site assessments for minimum wage. Old Mr. Thompson, a grizzled vet with a limp from a construction accident, barked orders but watched how I double-checked every measurement. "You're slow as molasses," he'd grumble, peering over my shoulder as I recalibrated a theodolite. Clients want quick, not perfect. But I insisted on precision, every angle. Every elevation note was a lesson in integrity. Nights were for self-education. Pirated Wi-Fi from the diner downstairs fueled endless hours on Khan Academy for structural engineering. Free webinars on sustainable design. Forums where pros shared CD tricks. I'd dissect blueprints from famous projects, redrawing them by hand to grasp the why behind the how. Notebooks piled up, crammed with formulas, material stress tests, sketches of innovative trusses taped alongside notes on wind resistance. The grind was relentless, ramen for days. Skipped meals to afford printer ink, but it fueled a fire that drowned out Olivia's echo. Not everyone's cut out. 6 months in, I started freelancing surveys for local builders. Word trickled out. The girl who spotted foundation flaws before they cracked budgets. I charged peanuts at first, $1.30 for a site review, $100 for custom plans, but reinvested every buck in software trials and certification courses. The pivot hit in year 2. A client, Javier Ruiz, needed plans for a community center on a shoestring budget. He showed me glossy renders from Starkitects, stuff that'd cost a fortune. "Can you adapt this?" I studied the load paths, the eco-integrations. "I can engineer something stronger, tailored to your seismic zone." It took a month of all-nighters, modeling in freeware until my eyes burned, incorporating recycled materials for sustainability. When Javier unveiled the finished build, it stood resilient, beautiful in its efficiency. Photos spread on local forums, landing me gigs beyond Spokane, contractors from Boise, even Seattle outskirts. Exhaustion became my shadow, days at Thompson's from dawn to dusk, nights freelancing till the wee hours. Weekends? A myth. I'd crash at my desk, waking to keyboard imprints on my cheek. In those bone-weary moments, thoughts of home invaded. Did they miss the empty seat? Or was Olivia's latest deal the only headline? The betrayal simmered. Turning to resolve another calculation, another design, another brick in my invisible empire. By year 3, I'd scraped enough for a tiny office lease, a converted shed with drafting tables and proper lighting. I branded it EC Solutions. Neutral enough to evade any family sleuthing. Clients upgraded, tech firms needing green retrofits. Municipalities for bridge assessments. The night my savings hit $15,000, fruit of skipped vacations and side hustles, I stared at my calloused hands. Veins mapped like rebar. These weren't the delicate fingers of the overlooked Carter girl. They were tools forged in isolation. Watch me rise, I breathed to the empty room, envisioning a future where their dismissal would crumble. Marcus Hale stormed into my shed office on a rainy Tuesday, mid-draft on a pedestrian overpass. He was a force, salt and pepper beard, suit sharp as a T-square, exuding the aura of someone who'd built half of Portland's skyline. "You're the one fixing Ruiz's mess?" He circled my space, scrutinizing blueprints pinned to walls, testing the weight of my models. Silence stretched like a taut cable until my nerves vibrated. "This joint's flawed," he jabbed at my current sketch. "Your load distribution fights the site's topography." Defensiveness flared, the specs were solid, but he pulled a stool. "Show me your real stuff. Not the paid gigs. Your visions." I hesitated, then unearthed my midnight portfolio, radical designs for earthquake-proof towers, floating habitats on flood-prone lands. He pored over them, humming. Self-taught grit. Instincts sharp. But execution's raw. He slid a card across. Ran Hale Engineering in Denver for 20 years. Now mentoring in Capitol Hill. Talent like yours is wasting here. Come learn. I can't pay, didn't offer a salary. Work gratis. I'll school you in what forums skip. Pride clashed with necessity. Necessity won. Next week. I showed at his firm at 4 a.m. An hour early. The place gleamed, floor-to-ceiling windows for natural light. Software suites I'd only dreamed of. Prototypes humming with precision. Marcus taught through trial and error, making me scrap flawless models to expose microflaws, simulating disasters on designs till I grasped material limits. Integrity's in the unseen, he'd growl. Magnifying welds. Clients see the shine, you know the spine. He drilled client psychology, reading not just specs but fears. Budgets. Egos. Bridge the gap between dream and doable. Months in, he pushed me into the Pacific Northwest Innovators Contest. "You're green," he said, code 4, "don't embarrass me." My entry, a modular bridge system that adapted to climate shifts, engineered over sleepless weeks with hidden reinforcements for longevity. Judges from Boeing and Caltrans lingered, probing my calcs. Third place. Behind Ivy Leaguers. Keeps the edge, Marcus grunted, cracking a rare beer. Hunger fades with easy wins. But orders rolled, firms seeking my sustainable tweaks. Marcus coached pricing, not just costs, but value. Innovation's premium. "You're not EC anymore," he said one dusk, packing a retrofit plan for a tech giant. "Claim your name." That night, I filed for Carter Innovations. Bold. Undeniable. Mine. Gazing at the docks. Olivia's ghost faded, no more chasing her approval. I was engineering my own legacy. The flagship office in Seattle's Pioneer Square drained my savings plus a loan that knotted my gut. But unlocking those doors, seeing Carter Innovations in steel lettering, unlocked something deeper. Validation from within. My debut project lineup nearly broke me, 10 concepts proving engineering could marry form and function. Dubbed Resilience, inspired by fault lines that heal stronger. Each design layered techniques Marcus ingrained, seismic dampers invisible yet unyielding. Materials that flexed without fracturing. The pitch deck was scrappy, shot in abandoned lots with a buddy's drone. Structures rising defiant against urban decay. I blasted it to every venture firm. Sustainability blog. City planner. Rejections piled. But Lena Voss, a venture capitalist with stakes in green tech unicorns, emailed at midnight, that adaptive tower, scale it for coastal erosion? Need prototypes yesterday. 3 days to refine models that had taken months. I powered through on caffeine and sheer will, tweaking sims till dawn. Her team greenlit it. The structure debuted at a climate summit, earning nods from EPA brass. Who the hell is Carter Innovations? Forums buzzed. Contracts snowballed. I hired 3 engineers. Kept output boutique. Flagship in Seattle. Pop-ups in Portland. Collaborated with material scientists for biocomposites. Weaving ethics into blueprints. Waitlists hit 4 months. Revenue climbed to 7 figures. My partner, Alex Rivera, a structural photographer whose lens captured the soul of steel, entered my life amid deadlines. We bonded over shared drives, his frames in Architectural Digest, mine reshaping skylines. The office walls filled with accolades, awards from ASC, features in Wired, clients like Google campuses. But one spot stayed bare. Reserved not for glory, but for closure, a silent promise to the girl they'd discarded. Wealth wasn't the endgame, it was the scaffold for what came next. The night my assets crossed 8 figures, I uncorked a vintage scotch Marcus favored, then poured it down the drain. This wasn't triumph, it was the calm before the storm. The voicemail hit during a site inspection for a San Francisco retrofit. My team swarming with lasers and laptops. A number etched in memory, Moms. I played it in the trailer. Door bolted. Emily. It's your mother. Long time. I know. Olivia's turning 30 next month, the 28th. Big party. Family should reunite. No remorse. Just summons. I erased it. But the tremor lingered. Botching my next measurement. That evening, Alex found me on the rooftop. City lights mocking my unrest. He'd heard my saga over late-night blueprints. Going? To what end? Rub their noses in it. My laugh was hollow. A decade forging this. And for what approval? Alex cupped my chin. Maybe it's not for them. Maybe that 18-year-old needs to close the loop. I pictured her, fleeing in the dark. Bus ticket clutched like a lifeline. She deserved reckoning. Come with. Try stopping me. Prep mirrored a high-stakes pitch. I chose an archive design, a tailored suit sharp as a cantilever. Black wool with hidden reinforcements for poise. Hair sleek. Makeup subtle, armor. Not disguise. Marcus dropped by pre-flight. You're set, he stated, tweaking my collar. Revenge ain't destruction. It's outgrowing their pull. Feel nothing. And you're free. Almost. He added. You'll know when. The flight to Santa Barbara dragged like a stress test. Alex gripped my hand through turbulence, grounding me. Below, the coast mocked time's passage. I'd cyberstalked them. Olivia wed Derek Voss, irony, Lena's cousin. Hotel magnate. Her dev career plateaued into philanthropy facades, weddings splashed in Vanity Fair. Her in couture. Parents beaming. Montecito Estate, 8 acres of curated paradise. Party, elite schmooze fest. Script ready? Alex asked as we navigated hills. Silence, I said. Let actions echo. In my bag, 4 cards. Premium stock. QR to a vaulted portfolio press. Valuations. Deals dwarfing Derek's empire. The invitation had arrived gilded. Olivia's scrawl, let's reconnect. As if a decade was a weekend jaunt. Hotel mirror reflected not vengeance, but evolution, the woman they'd never envisioned. The driveway wound through olive groves and fountains. Valets whisking limbos. Inside, the great hall oozed Olivia, marble floors, gilt mirrors, A jazz trio crooning standards. Guests networked in clusters. Laughs brittle as glass. Parents first, Dad grayer. Sharper, Mom lifted. Frozen. They anchored near Olivia's oversized headshot from her peak dev days. Then Olivia glided in with Derek, still runway ready. Pilates honed. In a gown worth the mortgage. Derek, trust fund polish. Eyes appraising like assets. Emily, Olivia feigned shock. Though invited. Air kiss dodged, she faltered. Everyone. My kid sister, been. Absent. Absent like exile. And this is. Eyes raked Alex. Alex Rivera. Just wrapped a shoot for Zaha Hadid's estate. Olivia's poise cracked, Alex mattered. Appending her script. Small talk barbed, Emily's always been so. Handy with pencils. Remember those doodles? Chuckles invited. Still doodling, I murmured. Sipping. Dinner relegated me to periphery, between Derek's golf buddy and a trophy date. Olivia center stage. Spinning yarns of closed deals. Glossing failures. Over entrees, Wagyu laced with ego, she broadcast, funniest bit? Emily begging for engineering school cash. Mismatched socks and all. Dreaming big. Laughter rippled. Assigning me obsolete. Dessert, her coup de grace. Glass aloft. Thanks all for toasting 30 fabulously. And Emily, glad you're here. Struggling? Derek's got entry-level gigs. We all crawl sometime. Still can't snag an old Honda. But roars sealed my slot, pitiful. I rose. Card placed by her flute. Actually. Thriving. Derek scanned QR first. Phone aglow, Carter Innovations dossier, Forbes features. Billion-dollar contracts. Valuations at $15 million. Jesus. Laughter vaporized. Olivia snatched. Cycling denial to fury. This. Yours. Emily Carter. Carter Innovations. Silence absolute. Mending decade-old wounds. Derek recited. Carter secures FEMA partnership. Revolutionizes Quake tech. Valued at 15 mil. Phones ignited. Searches confirming. My TED Talk. Oval Office consults. Auctioned prototypes fetching 6 figures. Parents edged near. Faces recalibrating loss. We had no clue, Mom quavered. You vanished. Note said don't chase. Dad, but alone? We could've, Alex interjected. She engineered empires solo. No handouts. Olivia paled. Clutching Derek. Why ambush? Like your school tale? Wrong. By the way, I pitched alone. Terms ironclad. We backed Olivia's wins, her 5-year stint before trophy Wi-Fi and G. Stellar. Cruelty stung. But truth demanded it. A green tech blogger rose. I profiled her last quarter. Waitlisted for her consults. Chaos, party morphed. Guests swarming me. Hierarchies flipping. Olivia's facade cracked. Tears carving paths. Why here? Now, to test if victory stings. Does it? Surveying the frenzy, parents bargaining intros. Derek Googling my worth. Guests fawning, I felt. Void. Nothing. And that's liberation. I turned. We're out. Mom pleaded, family blood. Maybe. Family's earned. To Olivia. Diminished, happy birthday. Chase Real wants. Not scripts. Alex and I exited amid flashes. Her voice chasing, leaving? After this. Left ages ago. This? Unshackling. In the car. Ocean gleaming. Phones exploded, bloggers stream viral. I powered down. Feel? Alex queried. Like blueprint complete. On to fresh drafts. Dreams that night, teaching blueprints to a faceless girl. Hands eager. Woke knowing triumph wasn't tears or shock, but legacy forward. Back in Seattle. Marcus awaited, done chasing ghosts? Eyes ahead. He nodded. Good, Boeing wants seismic innovations. Deliver unforgettable. Sketchbook open. Lines flowed free, not proving. Just building. The overlooked girl? Transformed into Emily Carter, architect of fates. Resilient beyond measure. Utterly unbound.